Today, I'm excited to have you. Today, we're going to be talking something that is not quite as fun as multiplication can be, or especially not as fun as geometry can be. But today, we're going to be talking some factors and multiples. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know. Factors and multiples. Oh, they all take so long. Yes, they do take a while to get all of the correct answers. Because there's not just one, there's usually a lot. Now, the nice thing about factors is there's a simple process that we can do that will get us all the factors. And it's very straightforward. There's one step, then the next step, then the next step, then the next step. So follow along. We're going to start off with one that we've all probably done before. Some of you might even be able to tell me most of them right off the top of your head. That's awesome. Today we're going to be starting with the number 12 and writing all the factors of 12. So the way that I suggest we do this is we simply write a list of numbers. So we're going to start off, we're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna stop at 8 right now, just because we're gonna see if we can get that far. Something times 1 means it's its own thing. That 1 times what will get me to 12? My answer is going to be 12. Every single time, with every single one of these, your answer is going to be 12. And you're going to be multiplying each of these numbers by something in order to try to get to 12. So,
let's see. Equals 12, 12. There we go.
So, as we go through here, I want you to be thinking to yourself and paying attention for two things. One, obviously trying to figure out what times what will get you up to 12. And then, I want you to be paying attention for when we repeat one, but just flipped. Okay, so 1 times something will get me to 12. 1 times what gets me to 12? 12, hooray, I'm glad you got that, nice work. Next, 2 times something is going to get you to 12. That one is 6. And 3 times something is going to get us to 12. 3 times 4. So we're going to put a 4 right there. Next, 4 times something is going to get me to 12. That one's a 3. 5 times... Oh, what was that? Oh, you guys are amazing. Do I know if you're amazing? Well, I do, but I don't know if you caught that. But if you didn't catch it, right here, 3 times 4 and 4 times 3 are the same thing, just flipped backwards. When we reach that point where we've repeated one of our previous factors, we're done. You're done. Toss it, throw in the towel, be done for the day, go home, sleep. Unfortunately not today though, because we've got another problem to do. Let's do a little bit harder one. Let's do 28. This one's a little hard, okay? So let's start off by writing our list of numbers. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
15. Okay, we'll just stop there. Who knows? All right. Hopefully you all have already written in one of them. One of them you know for sure, and I want you to select right over here, which one of them do you already know? You're right. 1 times 28 will get me to 28. Obviously, pretty easy. Now, 2 times something. Now, this is where your knowledge of math facts doesn't really help you at all. You have to think, okay, 28. What could I multiply by 2 to get to 28? Now, the reason you know it does have a factor that is 2 times something is the fact that it's an even number. 28 is an even number. 27 is odd, 29 is odd, 28 is even. And if it's even, that means it's divisible by 2, meaning you can multiply 2 by something and get to it. So, in this case, if you haven't figured it out yet, the number is 14. 14. 2 times 14. Next, 3. 3 times something. Let's see, 3 times 9 is 27, and if 27 is 3 times 9, then there's no way I can get there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm just going to cross off 3, because I have figured out that 3 is not a factor. Next, 4. Now, here's a trick. If 2 is a factor, there's a good chance 4 might be a factor. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Precisely 50% of the time. But today, 4 happens to be a factor. And I'm going to wait just a second. I'm going to let you try to figure out which one it is. And I want you to select 4 times what will get me to 28. Yeah, that's right. 4 times 7 will get me to 28. Moving on. Next, 5s. Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We skipped right over 28. So there's no way that 5 is going to get us there. 6. I know that 6 times 4 is 24. So 24 plus 6 is 30. Again, we skipped right over 28. So I'm actually going to end up crossing that off. Next, 7 times something will get me to 28. Ugh. Let's see, 7 times 3 is 21. Oh, 7 times 4. So we're going to write 7 times 4 is equal to 28. What was that? Definitely. Yeah, we repeated ourselves. Hip, hip, hooray. To those of you that caught that, great job. To those of you that didn't, that's okay. You'd have caught on eventually. So now we're going to add in one more step. Now that we've repeated now that we've repeated a factor pair, we're going to go and we're actually going to write down all of our factor pairs. So I tend to start with the smallest number and move to the largest number. So all of my factors combined, my smallest number is a 1 right here. So I'm going to write 1, and I'm going to add a little comma because I know I have more than just 1. I have 1, I have 2. I do not have 3, but I do have 4. My next biggest number is 7. Then I have 14. And lastly, I have 28. That is how you write a list of factors. Moving on down, I'm going to give this chance for you to try to do this one on your own. Now, as we wrote it out here, I could say that this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 factors. Now, if that has 6 factors, if 28 has 6 factors, I want you to go through and figure out how many factors do you think 36 has? I'm going to put a question right over here with just the number of factors, okay? And then I'll go through it with you and we'll see if our answers line up. All right, so I'm guessing it's been just a little bit because you've been working on trying to figure out all the factors. So I hope that your first step was to list 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I hope your first step was to do something along these lines. Next, you could write multiplication next to each one of these. And then we start thinking, 1 times what will get me to 36? Well, that's 1 times 36. Next, 2. It is an even number. It's even. That means it's divisible by 2. What can go into 36 2 times? Well, that number is 18. Next, 3. 3 can go in it, and there's actually a little secret that I'm going to show you off to the side here. So, with the number 36, okay, I'm going to draw a big line here. With the number 36, okay, if we take both of these digits and we add them together, so 3 plus 6 is equal to 9. Now, if the whole number, the 36, is divisible by 3, when you add those two digits together, that number will be divisible by 3. So 9, let's think if 9 is a multiple of 3. 3, 6, 9. So if it is divisible by 3, that means that your whole number, the big number, the 36 in this case, is also divisible by 3. 36 is divisible by 3 if you use 12s. Let's get that color back. If you use 12s. So 3 times 12 gets us to 36. Next, 4 times something. Let's see if 4 times something will get me to 36. So let's take a look. And in fact, it actually can. 4 times 9. So if you use your nines trick with your hands, you can actually figure out that 4 times 9 does get you to 36. So let's put a 9 right there. Next, 5. Let's see. 25, 30, 35, 40. We skipped right over 36, so 5 is not a factor. Next, 6. 6 is a factor. So 6 times 6 will get me to 36. Next, 7. 7, let's see. 42 is 1 for 7. 49 is 1 for 7. Let's go backward. 35 is 1 for 7. And if 35 is, I know 36 is not. So 7 is not a factor. Okay, next, 8. I know 8 can go into 40. And that tells me that 32 would have been the one right before it because 40 minus 8 is 32. So 8, not a factor, skipped right over it. Next, 9. 9 times 4. Oh, I heard you this time. Boom, we've got a match. Ladies and gentlemen, that means we are done.
We got it! We got it!
All of the factors. So let's take a look here and count up how many there are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that is all. We have 10 total factors. Mr. James here. Mr. James isn't always perfect. Nobody's perfect. And as I'm going through and editing these, I've realized that I counted 6 twice. So I counted our 1, our 36, our 2, our 18, our 3, our 12, our 4, our 9. And then I counted our 6 and our 6. So, in fact, it is not 10, but rather it's 9. Thanks, guys. Now this next one is pretty easy. I just want the first 10 multiples of the number 3. Let's do the first 10 multiples of the number 3. So, in this case, the first 10 multiples of the number 3, that's pretty easy. All you have to do is count by 3s. Something that we've probably learned way back in maybe 2nd grade, right? So let's count this down. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, and we can keep going. Now, I know what some of you are saying, but Mr. James, you missed one at the beginning. And yes, I did. Or you might even be saying, wait. 3 is not a multiple of 3. And if you're saying 3 is not a multiple of 3, I ask you, 3 times 1. I multiplied 3 by something. Does that mean it's a multiple of 3? It sure does. And some of you might have even included a 0 at the front. Now, there is some debate as to whether that actually means it's a multiple. I consider it a multiple. So 3 times 0 does get me a number, and that number happens to be 0. So any of these sets, you could have started at 0, you could have started at 3, and you could have started at 6. All of those options are correct, leading you all the way to either 27, 30, or 33. So, I want you to think, and I'm going to have you input a number over here, okay? And I want you to find a number that has only 3 factors less than 50. You may have to give this a few shots. You probably aren't going to get it right away, and that's okay. But if you do, congratulations. So, that is all that I have for you today. I'm so glad you joined me. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully it's nice out. Maybe go enjoy the weather. I don't know. Either way, goodbye.